temptation's cat treats. All it takes is a shake.
Our Confident Forever plan is possible with a CFP professional.
A CFP professional can help you build a complete financial plan. Visit letsmakeaplan.org to find your CFP professional.
It's time for our Memorial Day sale on the Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed. It senses your movement and automatically adjusts so you both stay comfortable.
Hello, testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3.
Hey everybody, this is Dia. Hope you can hear me. Okay. Ouch. I am. I'm just hooking this. Just give me a second to hook this on. Oops. Alrighty. I am ready. Good afternoon, everybody. Dia here on this Friday, May 20th. Here's what's making news. Governor Andy Beshear has announced a fourth round of Western Kentucky tornado relief funds. He says another $586,000 will be distributed to the Caldwell, Lyon, and Marshall County fiscal courts. Caldwell is getting most of the money with $500,000. $36,000 will go to Lyon and $50,000 to Marshall County. And this all comes from the West Kentucky State Aid Funding for Emergencies Fund. Well, Churchill Downs is taking a closer look at a Derby-winning horse trainer's recent drug test suspension. Brad Cox is a trainer of Mandaloun. That was the horse that was declared the winner of the 2021 Kentucky Derby after Medina Spirit was disqualified. Kentucky's Horse Racing Commission says Cox's horse, Warrior's Charge, had too much of an anti-inflammatory in his blood after finishing second in the Stephen Foster Stakes last June. Cox has been suspended for 10 days this month. Churchill Downs released a statement this week saying there's no acceptable excuse for failing a drug test and they will take further action when they're ready. Time now for a check of your LEX18 Storm Tracker forecast with Tom.
We are shifting from storms to heat. High is going to top out around 90 degrees today, a degree shy of our record high, which was set back in the 40s. The warmest we've been so far this year, 87 back earlier in May, and our normal high 77. Of course, we're way above that. And we will have changes this weekend. It'll be another really warm Saturday. It's going to be, already is gusty out there with that southerly wind, keeping those highs really cranked up. But eventually a few showers, thunder showers trying to get going tomorrow afternoon. A better chance for showers and storms into Sunday as this cold front tracks in. So that'll bring the change not only in the active weather. Don't anticipate severe storms, but some strong storms and heavy rain possible. And a cool down there at the end of the weekend. Temperatures knocking down into the 70s, even 60s briefly. We've got a high of around 90 degrees today. It's hot. Our record high is 91. Warmest we've been 87. Our normal high 77. Into the weekend, there's a cold front that'll drop in and bring some change. It's going to be gusty today and really warm. And eventually, as that front tracks through, we'll see a rising chance for some showers and storms. Could see a few Saturday and then have them more likely overnight into Sunday. You can see the timing there as you get into Sunday. That cold front approaches. Rising chance for some active weather. So if you're going to be out and about early in the weekend, you're going to get awfully sweaty there. It's how hot as it's going to be. But we will cool things down on the back end of that front from around 90 degrees today to still in the upper 80s tomorrow. We only drop to the upper 60s overnight to the upper 70s with showers and storms Sunday, and then bottoming out in the upper 60s Monday. So significantly cooler. Looks like 70s more storms on the way toward the middle of next week.
Count on LEX18 News.
Judges, bailiffs, and attorneys all had to clear out of the Scott County Courthouse. The reason coming up. Plus, new developments for a Laurel County woman accused of killing her boyfriend. Now her attorney addresses a new indictment filed against her. And another night of storm damage across central Kentucky. You size up some of the jumbo hail balls that battered homes and cars last night. This is LEX18 News at noon, and it starts right now. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dia Davidson. Thanks for joining us at noon. Chris Goodman has the day off. Going to begin the newscast, though, with this developing story for you out of Scott County. That's where the courthouse was closed due to a fire scare. People inside the building reported smelling smoke this morning, and that's when they evacuated everyone inside. After checking things out, they discovered a fuse had blown, creating that smell. Thankfully, the fuse box did not catch fire. Firefighters say an electrician is now working to fix that problem. Now to the big story. The woman charged in the shooting death of her boyfriend, a well-known businessman in Laurel County, was back in court today. This after a grand jury decided to send her case to trial. LEX18's Michael Burke has more from London. It's today's big story at noon.
Victoria Strelski was in Laurel County Circuit Court this morning to acknowledge receipt of the grand jury's indictment. But that's not all that happened here today. The woman charged with murdering her boyfriend, local businessman Brian McCarty, in September of last year, has been formally indicted on charges of murder, forgery, and evidence tampering. Additionally, her bond at the Commonwealth's request was raised from $500,000 to $750,000. Her defense counsel felt the bond number was too high to begin with, and weeks ago asked for a reduction. So he said he was surprised by the judge's decision to increase it by another $250,000. Paul Crowley feels his client has been wrongfully charged and says he'll enter the trial phase in July, very confident about mounting his client's defense.
She's looking forward to her day in court. Obviously, this is a case that's garnered a lot of attention, and we haven't seen any evidence at this point which would suggest her guilt. So we're interested in getting to a trial quickly.
Victoria Strelski is due back in court on July 13th. Mr. Crawley feels she will have a hard time posting the $750,000 bond, but should she be able to, she'd have to surrender her passport, among many other conditions. In Laurel County, Michael Burke, LEX18 News.
Well, while the U.S. Supreme Court is poised to cut federal protections when it comes to abortion rights, a new state law that scales back abortion access remains in limbo. A federal judge decided to extend an order blocking several portions of the new law. This new law would ban abortions after 15 weeks gestation and effectively closes the state's remaining abortion clinics under these new regulations. The judge says parts of the law should remain blocked until the U.S. Supreme Court rules on a related abortion case out of Mississippi. A leaked draft opinion from that case suggests the justices are leaning towards ending the long-standing legal precedent of Roe v. Wade. Now to last night's severe storms. Dozens of people in Harrison County are complaining about hail damage. In fact, agents with Farm Bureau Insurance say so far they've received more than 50 claims. LEX18's Evelyn Schultz joins us to show us the damage that one family is going to need some help fixing. As you can see, the damage left behind is extensive, and we'll try and follow that story for you a little later in the show. Well, Governor Andy Beshear announced a fourth round of Western Kentucky tornado relief funds. He says another $586,000 will be distributed to the Caldwell, Lyon, and Marshall County fiscal courts. Caldwell is getting most of the money with $500,000. $36,000 will go to Lyon County, and the remaining $50,000 is earmarked for Marshall County. These funds all come from the West Kentucky State Aid Funding for Emergencies Fund. After a rough couple of days with rain and thunderstorms, thankfully, we're now looking at a toasty end of the work week. Here's meteorologist Tom Ackerman with your Storm Tracker forecast.
Yeah, definitely shifting gears from the severe potential to heat. We've got sunshine out there, we've got wind, and it is warming up in a hurry. That's what it looks like in downtown Lexington. The wind, look at that, out of the southwest, sustained at 20 miles per hour, 21 miles per hour, and it's gusting even higher than that. The dew point's up there as well, so it's on the muggy side. As far as the temperatures are concerned, yeah, it's hot. We've got low 80s in Lexington, so we're already well above our average high of 77. We've got the rest of the afternoon to warm up and not a lot to slow us down between that southerly wind flow and all the sunshine that we're going to enjoy. So here's the max track, the big view. There were some showers and storms clipped northern Kentucky at the tail end of the severe storms from last night. Those have raced off across eastern Ohio, and the LEX18 Storm Tracker Future Track keeps that sun shining for today. So We're in good shape for the upcoming weekend. A couple of things you want to watch out for this weekend. Number one, yeah, it's hot and it's muggy, so don't overdo it outside. Number two, the heat's on today, but it won't be the rest of the weekend. We could have more showers and storms. Fortunately, more than likely not severe storms, but storms at the end of the weekend and a significant cool down. We'll check that out, talk more about that hail. Check out your 8-day forecast for the weekend coming up.
All righty, Tom, thank you. Now let's get back to Harrison County. Evelyn Schultz is going to show us some of the hail damage that people woke up to today.
We're at Marsha Pulliam's home in northern Harrison County, where we're getting a closer look at some of the hail damage from last night. Take a look at the back of her car. You can see the entire back window is entirely smashed out from that hail. Coming over to the front of her yard, you can see holes and dents in the ground where hail hit. Her son Charles told us some of the hail that fell was up to 4 inches in diameter. He says he actually measured one of the holes in the ground that was 2.5 inches deep. Taking a closer look at the side of their house over here, the glass in her side door is completely broken out. You can see where the hail hit the siding of her home. She says it's frustrating because she walks around her yard and everywhere she looks, she feels like there's just more damage.
Guttering, siding, glass, the roof. My patio furniture is metal, is bent, big, you know, big holes, and it's just everywhere.
We called a contractor that usually works on our house and everything, and he said we'd just make a list and go from there. I mean, it's just so much. It's crazy.
Charles lives just down the road from his mom, where he owns cattle. He says the storm didn't hurt his cows, but he says it did leave them rattled for a few hours. In Harrison County, I'm Evelyn Schultz. Back to you.
Well, Churchill Downs is taking a closer look at a Derby-winning horse trainer's recent drug test suspension. Brad Cox is the trainer of Mandaloun. The horse was declared the winner of the 2021 Kentucky Derby after Medina Spirit was disqualified. Kentucky's Horse Racing Commission reports Cox's horse Warrior's Charge had too much of an anti-inflammatory in its bloodstream after finishing second in the Stephen Foster Stakes last June. Cox has been suspended for 10 days this month, and Churchill Downs released a statement earlier this week saying there's no acceptable excuse for failing a drug test, and they will take further action. And don't forget, we are just one day away from the second leg of horse racing's Triple Crown, the historic Preakness Stakes. Derby winner Rich Strike, though, is not in this race. So which horse will win the second leg of the Triple Crown? Well, you can watch the race from Pimlico Racecourse in Baltimore right here on LEX18. NBC Sports' coverage begins tomorrow afternoon at 4. The race is set to begin around 6:50. President Joe Biden is in South Korea today, marking his first trip to Asia as president. NBC's Chris Pallone has more on what's on the president's agenda.
President Biden's first trip to Asia since taking office, a symbolic visit delivering messages to the U.S.'s allies and adversaries.
So much of the future of the world is going to be written here in the Indo-Pacific over the next several decades.
The presidential visit to South Korea and Japan, a sign of unity with key allies in the face of growing military and economic threats from North Korea, China, and Russia.
Putin's brutal and unprovoked war in Ukraine has further spotlighted the need to secure our critical supply chains so that our economy, our economic, and our national security are not dependent on countries that don't share our values.
A message of an affirmative vision of what the world can look like if the democracies and open societies of the world stand together to shape the rules of the road.
The president arrives in Seoul a day after welcoming the leaders of Finland and Sweden at the White House as they apply to join NATO.
It is so important. America's alliances in Europe and in Asia keep us, and I would argue, the world strong and secure.
The president leaves behind several pressing issues which have driven down his public approval ratings: the baby formula shortage, the war in Ukraine, and soaring gas prices.
We are working with oil-producing countries around the world. This will be a topic when the president is in Asia.
While in South Korea and Japan, the president will highlight partnerships with Asian companies, which the White House says will create jobs in the U.S. and help alleviate supply chain issues driving the recent spike in consumer prices. Back here at home, after a week's delay, the Senate finally passed that $40 billion package of aid, which will help Ukraine in its fight against Russia. That bill is on its way to Asia, so President Biden can sign it as soon as possible. In Washington, Chris Pallone, NBC News.
A federal judge is expected to rule today on the future of the government's Title 42 immigration policy. The Trump-era rule allows the government to turn away more people trying to cross the Mexican border due to COVID concerns with no chance at asylum. The rule is set to expire Monday, but some federal immigration officials say allowing more people to enter the U.S. would overwhelm the system without more funding. Border crossings have hit all-time highs since the rule was put in place, with more than 234,000 people crossing the border last month. Former Attorney General William Barr has agreed to testify before the House committee investigating the January 6th Capitol riot. Sources say Barr will provide sworn testimony behind closed doors. Barr has already held an informal meeting with committee lawyers at his home. The 2-hour meeting focused on Barr's interactions with former President Donald Trump before and after the election. Barr did part ways with the former president not long after telling him there was no evidence of widespread election fraud. Also, the committee is taking a closer look at who toured the U.S. Capitol the day before the riot. Some House Democrats have accused Republicans of giving Capitol tours to people involved in the riot that led up to the January 6th riot. The committee is focusing on one tour led by Georgia Congressman Barry Loudermilk. The group sent a formal letter requesting more information on who he led through the building. Loudermilk filed an ethics complaint last year against dozens of Democrats who accused him of giving Capitol rioters an advance look inside the Capitol building. The first funeral services will be held today for victims of the mass shooting from this past weekend in Buffalo, New York. The suspected shooter was indicted yesterday on murder charges. Police say he targeted the Tops supermarket in Buffalo because of the area's large African-American population. 10 people died in the attack. 2 of the victims will be laid to rest during services today, while more funeral services are scheduled for next week. The man accused of attacking comedian Dave Chappelle on stage is now facing attempted murder charges for another incident. Police say 23-year-old Isaiah Lee is the man caught on cam trying to tackle Chappelle during a performance in L.A. earlier this month. Now Lee is also charged with stabbing his roommate during a fight last December. Police say the victim recently identified him thanks to the publicity from the Chappelle incident. Lee has entered a not guilty plea in both cases. His lawyer told a judge Lee is receiving mental health counseling. Doctors are sharing new details about the Florida pilot who passed out while at the controls, forcing his passenger to land the plane. The 64-year-old took a friend for a ride in the small plane for a flight to the Bahamas last week. He passed out due to a serious heart condition. Well, air traffic control was able to safely guide the passenger to landing that plane, and the man had no prior flight experience. Well, the pilot was rushed to a local hospital for emergency surgery. His doctors say it's extraordinary that he even survived 2 life-threatening situations.
I mean, the story is a miracle after a miracle, really. For him to be able to survive the event. An acute type A dissection is really acute. It is hyper acute. It happens suddenly. So the moment he was describing to his friends on the plane that, hey guys, I don't feel well. I have the worst headache of my life. I'm feeling fuzzy, dizzy. That is the exact event that the tear occurred in his aorta.
Wow, the pilot is now out of the hospital, but he will remain nearby to rest for a couple of weeks for observation before he actually goes on home. COVID cases are on the rise in Kentucky. We will show you which counties are now in the yellow and red on the CDC's COVID map. That's coming up after a really warm storm tracker forecast. But first, for our lottery players, tonight's Kentucky Mega Millions jackpot amount sits at $131 million. Saturday's Kentucky Powerball jackpot, $117 million. You got to play to win. We're back in 2.
We've had 2 really stormy days, and now we're catching a break going into the weekend, which is good news. The sun is shining. You notice a little bit of a wiggle in our live camera. It's because the wind is blowing as well. Now, this is the max track at the moment, and if we broaden the view, the showers, the storms are all gone. This is the end result of yesterday. 24-hour storm reports, clusters of wind damage or wind gust reports and heavy rain and flooding. But the predominant report that we saw yesterday was, of course, hail. I'm sure you've heard all about it by now. And fortunately, it didn't hit everywhere, because where it did hit, it caused some damage. This one out of Barry, northern Harrison County, one of the larger examples of hail that we saw, punching holes in windshields and denting cars. This one came from Charlesburg, eastern Fayette County there. And you can see just how many there were to begin with, and then the size of them. So if we break down the list of all the storm reports, top end of the list, we had roughly about 2 to 3 inch in diameter hail. Harrison County and Fayette County, 2 I just showed you, were on the top end there. And then Jessamine County had 2 3/4 of an inch, and it went all the way down to 1 inch hail, which is the threshold for severe storms there as far as the hail size goes. And right here you can see it. So you get into that 2 inch to 3 inch range, you're talking anywhere from around just beyond golf ball size to up to over baseball size hail. And yeah, good luck with your roof there. As you heard Evelyn talking about earlier, there are going to be a lot of insurance adjusters out checking out damage over the next couple of days and into the weekend. Future track shows are approaching cold front. It is going to be hot today. Temperatures on the rise, but this is going to be the catalyst of change for later in the weekend. This boundary is going to push in. It'll bring some showers and storms late in the weekend. There's still a chance we could see stray shower storm into Saturday afternoon. I think the better chance will be if you watch the clock overnight into Sunday as this front settles in. Don't expect severe weather with this round, thank goodness, but still some storms possible at the end of the weekend. And it'll put an end to this, the heat. It's lunchtime. We're already in the low 80s, well above our average high. It is muggy out there as well. The dew point is in the 60s. That is some muggy air. And you've got this wind that's straight out of the south-southwest, sustained around 20 miles per hour, and it's been gusting over 30 miles per hour. That will persist into the afternoon as well. So we are full on into a balmy summer day, even though it's still May. We're going to take a crack at 90 degrees. Our record high, 91, set back in 1944. Our maximum high so far this year is 87, so this could be the hottest day of the year so far. Last time we hit 90 was when we got to 91 at the end of August last year. So it's been a while, and yeah, it's hot all across the board for this time of the year. 90 in Frankfort, forecast-wise, 89 out in Winchester and Richmond, down in Madison County. Lancaster and Garrett County are in the upper 80s. A whole lot of 90s showing up from Frenchburg, West Liberty, and Campton, now towards Moorhead. Our southeastern counties much the same, 90 in Hazard and upper 80s even in the mountains in Pineville. Down toward the lake, where you usually want it hot, well, you got it hot. 90 in Monticello today, and the 8-day shows the changes that are on the way. Around 90 today, still upper 80s, so still very warm Saturday. I think Saturday's record high in Lexington is 92. And then just a few shower storms trying to get going late in the day with that better chance at the end of the weekend and a significant cool down. We could end up in the upper 60s to low 70s by early next week.
All righty, Tom, thank you so much. Kentucky's COVID case numbers are still on the rise, and more counties are now in the yellow on the CDC's COVID spread map. Nearly 3 dozen counties are now in the yellow zone, including both Fayette and Woodford counties. McCracken County is in the red zone. Positivity rate is also on the upswing and stands at more than 9%. But COVID hospitalizations, ICU, and ventilator numbers remain low and stable. Louisville's public schools may require masking for their last week of classes. JCPS officials say they prepare each week by looking at the prior week's CDC guidance. Jefferson County is currently in the medium risk category, with numbers trending towards the high risk. The CDC signed off yesterday on COVID boosters for young children. The agency's vaccine advisors voted 11-1 to recommend the extra shots for kids ages 5 to 11. The CDC's director endorsed the decision, meaning the shots should be available for that age group starting today. Children between the ages of 5 and 11 receive a third of the regular dose. That's given to everyone 12 and older. Well, the CDC is also investigating a case of another disease. This time it's monkeypox. A case has popped up in Massachusetts, but it's emerging this month in several countries that don't normally report this type of infection, including here in the U.S. Mandy Gaither has more.
It's a disease that's rare in humans, but the CDC says a patient in Massachusetts is now being treated for monkeypox.
The good news is we have one confirmed case right now, but we should also always be on the lookout for more cases.
The CDC says symptoms start out like the flu. Fever, headache, muscle and back aches, swollen lymph nodes, chills, and exhaustion. Within 1 to 3 days after a fever, the patient develops a rash, often starting on the face, then spreading to the rest of the body. The illness typically lasts 2 to 4 weeks. In Africa, it's been shown to cause death in as many as 1 in 10 people infected.
The individual who was diagnosed with monkeypox is someone who had recently traveled abroad and had actually then come back to the United States.
The CDC is tracking multiple clusters of monkeypox reported within the past 2 weeks in other countries, including Portugal, Spain, and the United Kingdom. In Canada, health officials are investigating 17 suspected cases observed over the last week. The first case reported in Montreal on May 12th. The agency is also on the lookout for any more cases in the U.S.
At this time, we don't want people to worry. At this point, again, these numbers are still small. We want them to be aware of these symptoms, and if they have any concerns, to reach out to their doctor if they have any of the symptoms.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Rent and home prices are both hitting record highs as the stock markets continue on a downturn. We've got the updated numbers coming up next when LEX18 News at Noon returns.
You're watching LEX18 News at Noon.
Wall Street is hoping for a bounce back today after another down day Thursday on the exchange. The S&P 500 as well as the NASDAQ are headed for a 7-week losing streak, which hasn't happened since 2001. The Dow is on track for its 8th straight losing week, something that hasn't happened since 1932. In fact, the S&P 500 flirting with bear market territory, which is defined by a 20% drop. It's now more than 18% below its record closing high in January. New unemployment claims rose again last week, surprising most economic experts. Initial claims for the benefits rose by 21,000 to 218,000 people. The job market remains tight for those looking for new jobs, but the jobless numbers are still far below what most experts would expect to see during a recession. Housing market is getting even tighter, and home prices have hit another record high. The National Association of Realtors reports median price of a home rose to more than $391,000 last month. That's up by nearly 15% from a year ago. Also, home sales fell for the third month in a row in April. Rising mortgage rates, along with fewer affordable homes, has pushed many would-be home buyers out of the market. Sales of existing homes dropped nearly 2.5% from March to April and are down nearly 6% from a year ago. And America's renters are paying more to stay in their homes, and the trend looks like it's going to continue. A report from Realtor.com shows the national median rent was over $1,800 a month in April. That's a jump of nearly 17% from a year ago and the highest on record. If the trend continues, they predict the national median rent could top $2,000 a month by August. But there could be some relief for renters. Rent growth slowed for the third straight month in April after peaking in January. That's it for us. Hope you have a great day. LEX18 News at 12:30 is next.
LEX18, streaming local news 24/7. Search for LEX18 on your device.
Tom, hello. Hello, microphone check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Count on LEX18 News.
The heat's on going into the weekend. We'll see how high we climb.
Plus, the governor announced a new record low for the unemployment rate. Why that has some Kentuckians, though, scratching their heads. And Russian forces are showing signs of progress on the battlefield in eastern Ukraine. The latest on the war is coming up. This is LEX18 News at 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Angie Bevan. Thanks for staying with us at 12:30. After a couple of days of strong storms, things are heating up. We begin with meteorologist Tom Ackerman with how hot it's going to get in the Bluegrass today.
Taking a shot at a record high, Angie, getting up to around 90 degrees. Time of the year we're usually in the upper 70s. You can also see the wind blowing our live camera at the top of the Lexington Financial Center around. Right there's the culprit. Southwest wind at 21 miles per hour, and we've had gusts over 30 miles per hour, and we're already in the 80s. We got the rest of the afternoon to heat up. It's 82 in Richmond, it's 84 in Frankfort, and the Max Track shows nothing doing. The very tail end of those storms right there did clip northern Kentucky. We had a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings up around Owen County, Pendleton County. Briefly this morning, but they're long gone, and don't expect any today. Nothing but sunshine and, of course, that wind. So the 3-day forecast, that high around 90 today, and this is not the only hot day. We could get into the upper 80s tomorrow, but you start to notice the shower and storm chances creeping in, and I know everybody's a little on edge after the last couple of days of chock full of severe storm threats. This looks a little more garden variety. We'll have showers and storms coming in, but it doesn't look like it's going to be anything eventful. It will change things up, though, cool things down. We'll get a look at how it impacts your 8-day forecast coming up.
And the storms from last night produced some hail in our area, but people in Jessamine County reported getting hit by some of the largest. Take a look at this. Viewers sent pictures of hail. It was anywhere from several inches to, in some cases, almost as big as a baseball. And some people reported sizable lightning strikes as well, flashing in the sky last night. Again, though, we don't have any reports in that area of damage. Governor Andy Beshear yesterday touted a record low in Kentucky's unemployment. The Center for Statistics reports the state's unemployment rate for April was 3.9%. But despite that record low number, Republicans criticized the announcement, saying Kentuckians are struggling with gas prices, baby formula shortages, a shrinking workforce, and a poorly performing stock market. In addition, the low unemployment number has one woman even more puzzled as to why state officials can't get her the unemployment benefits she says she's owed. LEX18's Mike Valenti explains.
It was all smiles in the briefing room at the Capitol.
While we push through the challenges of our present, we are building a brighter future for the next generations.
But Kimberly Van Winkle has a hard time thinking about the future when she's so hung up on the past.
It's not that hard to get this straightened out, go back. How many more people are like me that are still sitting here going on 3 years with this?
That's right. She hasn't received any benefits since she first filed for unemployment in March of 2020.
That money is my money. That's what it's there for.
Van Winkle says she filed for unemployment back in 2010, before she was married, as Kim Blake. She had a hard time filing in 2020 because some of her financial documents were now under her married name. By the time she got that resolved to file, she says, the claim got denied because she did not file within 2 weeks of losing her job.
They're there to help us. And it's just not fair to all these people, and me included, that have bills to pay or things that need to be done, feed their children, and you still got to fight the government for it.
Many of the headlines about the once troubled unemployment system may have faded, but Van Winkle wants people to know she's still here, waiting for what she's owed. Mike Valenti, LEX18 News.
Governor Beshear has ordered flags at all state buildings lowered to half staff from sunrise until sunset Saturday. This is in honor of the Callaway County Sheriff's deputy who died in the line of service. All individuals, businesses, organizations, and government agencies are encouraged to participate in the tribute. Jody Wayne Cash of Murray was killed in Marshall County on Monday. Services for Cash will be held Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock at the CFSB Center on the Murray State University campus. Russian forces are showing signs of progress on the battlefield in eastern Ukraine after months of painful setbacks and struggles for their invasion. NBC's Aaron McLaughlin reports from eastern Ukraine.
Heavy fighting continues in the Donbass region overnight. President Zelensky saying that everything in Donbass has been destroyed, comparing the situation there to hell. This is all eyes are on the city of Severodonetsk, where Russian forces are pushing closer and closer to the city, killing 12 civilians, according to Ukrainian officials, in the shelling. The concern among Ukrainian officials is if they take that city, then Russia will control the whole of the Luhansk portion of the Donbass region. This, as all eyes continue to be on the steel plant in the devastated port city of Mariupol, where the evacuations continue. We heard from Ukrainian commander overnight releasing a video saying that the defense of the steel plant has stopped. They're now focusing on saving lives. They've managed to evacuate all civilians, all of the wounded fighters, he said, and now they're focusing on evacuating the deceased. His hope is that the dead bodies of the fallen soldiers will be returned to Ukrainian-controlled territory so they can be buried by their loved ones. Aaron McLaughlin, NBC News, Kharkiv, Ukraine.
Well, it has been well established gas prices are at record highs, and the pain at the pumps expected to worsen during the summer travel season. So the question is, what can be done? Some states have suggested freezing gas prices like President Nixon did in 1970. But an economist who spoke with WPSD says that could be a bad decision, explaining that when this happened, there were lines to get gas and there wasn't enough to go around. To save, they say implement some of the saving tips that have been discussed before, including proper car maintenance, using apps to try to find cheaper gas that's around, and also using fuel reward programs. The spring Lex Arts Hop kicks off tonight with a special library after hours event celebrating Horse Mania. Fiberglass horses measuring 6 by 8 feet have been decorated by both students and professionals around central Kentucky. They'll be displayed all around Lexington this summer. The event is from 6 until 8 o'clock tonight at Lexington Central Library Gallery. The evening will consist of artist renderings of the horses, music by Matt Wiley, and refreshments provided by Pivot Brewing. A delay on the diamond is forcing a double-header. UK baseball will have a chance to secure its spot in the SEC tournament today. Last night's series opener against Auburn was postponed due to rain, so the Tigers and the Cats will play a doubleheader today at Kentucky Proud Park beginning at 2 o'clock this afternoon. The Cats need to win 2 of the 3 games in the series to get into the SEC tournament. It is going to be a hot summer-like day today, so how is our weekend shaping up? Tom will be back in next with your complete Storm Tracker forecast. That's coming up next here at 12:30. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's forecast for summer is calling for above average heat without much rain. Yesterday, NOAA predicted nearly the entire contiguous U.S. would see above average temperatures for the summer. And with below average rainfall predicted, that could fuel the mega drought in the West and wildfires. The only area with above average precipitation probabilities is the Gulf Coast region and Florida. Well, Tom, right now we've seen a lot of rain, and we don't know what we're going to see this summer, but right now it feels like summer today.
Yeah, we definitely are going to go above average. We're already above average and going for near record highs today. The good news is, at least it's nice, the sun's out of Keeneland. And this is what it looks like as far as the max track goes. The storms are gone, and we're going to take a couple of days off from that, which is welcome after the last couple of days. These are all the hail reports that I cobbled together from the National Weather Service reports that came in. Top end of the list, 2 to 3 inch in diameter hail. That is the stuff that causes some damage. Harrison County, as you've heard, northern Harrison County and eastern Fayette County especially were hit. And when you put it into perspective, when you get, just some general small hail from a thunderstorm, it's usually, pea size, sometimes dime size, doesn't do anything, you just notice it. When you start getting into those severe sizes, those severe diameters, when we were running up above golf ball and pushing and even exceeding baseball size hail, that's the kind of stuff that'll punch through a windshield, dent your car, mess up your shingles. And how it forms is you've got updrafts and you've got downdrafts within a thunderstorm, and eventually those updrafts start to bring liquid up within the storm and it freezes and you get a little hailstone. And then that updraft just continues to support those and they bounce back and forth and continue to grow, build with that super cool water freezing on it. And eventually the updraft loses enough oomph and eventually all that falls out. And the stronger the updraft, the bigger the hail. And what we ended up with yesterday were some pretty hefty updrafts to support that kind of hail. And sadly, we had all those reports of that large hail and damage around. Now, the good news for today, that's not happening. We've got sunshine. We've just got record, if not record, near record heat. And this cold front coming in is going to put changes to the end of the weekend. Could see isolated showers, thunder showers into tomorrow afternoon. You can see just a hint of it getting going. I think we'll just end up partly sunny. But if you're making outdoor plans, look out for that. And then eventually, yes, this cold front comes in. It'll bring showers and storms at the end of the weekend, most likely Saturday night into Sunday. The good news, not looking for severe weather, but this will also cool things down. So as that boundary slides east, temperatures are not going to be doing this by early next week. We're already in the low 80s. We're already above our average high. And we got the rest of the afternoon to warm up. It's 85 in Louisville. The dew point's up as well. When you got dew points in the 60s, that is some muggy air. You can feel it out there. And plus, we got this strong southerly wind, southwesterly wind sustained to 20 and gusting over 30 miles per hour. That'll be a factor this afternoon as well. So it's just going to be flat out balmy. Look at the highs. Upper 80s even into Saturday. Saturday's record high in Lexington is 92. And then you just have this steep nosedive after the cold front goes through. You eventually bottom out in the upper 60s Monday, and that is where things are going to hold. So, yeah, southeastern Kentucky, you can see some of the warmest highs with those low 90s. Will be around 90 here in Lexington, mostly sunny, gusty, hot, and humid. And tonight, upper 60s, mostly clear, windy, and warm. A pleasant night, just a really warm one for this time of the year. And then Saturday, you're still in the upper 80s. So if you want it feeling a little more like May, you're going to have to wait until the end of the weekend to get that cold front coming in. Unfortunately, that does mean some late weekend shower and storm chances, and then just a few lingering showers Monday. Temperatures will bottom out in the upper 60s, so it cools down. Check out overnight lows. That'll also be chilly as well. Could be in the upper 40s Tuesday morning. Then we start to recover. The one thing you want to watch out for next week as we get back into the mid to upper 70s, closer to our average high. That midweek storm chance may bear watching. Those could be on the stronger side, so we'll have to keep an eye on that later in the weekend.
It's quite a cool down early in the week, though. Thank you, Tom. The doors are open and customers are back, but restaurant owners say things are not back to normal. Staffing shortages and inflation are still hurting restaurants around the country. Now some restaurants are getting creative to succeed with fewer employees.
I'm LEX18. Eating out today looks a lot different than it did 2 years ago. There's often long waits to get a table and then an even longer wait to get your food. But with technology and a little innovation, some restaurants are learning how to beat the headaches caused by the staffing shortage.
We anticipate it being our busiest year yet.
It's a welcome sight. Tables full of friends, strangers chatting at the bar.
Really, when you leave your home, you're looking for that engagement and interaction with others. And we've definitely seen that has returned immensely in the last like 6 months.
But even with record numbers of people eating out and 74% of the restaurants around the country reporting increased sales, restaurants are still struggling.
We've all had to get really creative. It's not uncommon to go into a restaurant and have your GM being the one that's running food and bussing tables because we have been so understaffed for so long.
Courtney Griffith runs the Catbird Hotel and Restaurant in Denver. It opened in the middle of the pandemic, so from the start, she had to run this space differently.
We're a 165-room hotel with a rooftop restaurant and bar that can accommodate up to 600 people in a day. We would normally operate with 75 to 100 employees, and we have been running with 25 to 40.
But how?
So you just scan this QR code, you see the red barber menu pops up.
Technology is the biggest help. At the restaurant, you order yourself and pay from your phone. There are no servers, just food runners.
So they're really able to focus on that guest interaction instead of the transactional interactions.
Next, all employees are trained to work every position.
Hired to kind of be like well-rounded, and so you might come in for a breakfast attendant position, but you're also the concierge at the front desk or a food runner on the weekend for a banquet.
These changes have helped keep employees on and attract new workers.
I honestly prefer it just because I feel like that makes you more of a team player. You can kind of jump in, help whenever.
The team here is hoping other restaurants will follow this lead and make these pandemic changes permanent. Denise Mickelson of the Colorado Restaurant Association says it's already happening.
Technology is going to be more and more prevalent. I don't think paper menus are coming back necessarily, and I think that customers are going to be expected and also want to be a little bit more in charge of the experience that they have at restaurants, and tech allows for that.
And with changes for the customer come changes for workers too. Nationally, food service wages are up 10%, and more restaurants are offering benefits.
In the last couple of years, and we're talking everything from educational stipends to health and wellness support, and resources to medical insurance, vision, 401k. You name it.
These changes forced by the pandemic have been hard for many restaurants to overcome, but they're changes many in the service industry have been waiting for. Changes many think will make this industry better for years to come. I'm Alexa Liacco.
And still ahead, we'll get a preview of the season finale of Saturday Night Live with host actress Natasha Lyonne. More LEX18 news at 12:30 is coming up right after this.
You're watching LEX18 News at 12:30.
Rihanna is a mom. A source close to the couple confirmed yesterday the superstar singer and her artist partner, A$AP Rocky, have welcomed their first child. Rihanna and A$AP Rocky went public with their romantic relationship last May. They revealed she was expecting in a series of photos back in January. The new parents have not yet shared the sex or name of their baby. Ed Sheeran is celebrating with the birth of his second daughter. The pop star made the announcement yesterday on social media. He wrote he and his wife, Cherry Seaborn, are so in love with her and over the moon to be a family of 4. Sheeran didn't make any mentions of his new daughter's name. Sheeran and Seaborn are already parents to daughter Lyra Antarctica, who they welcomed in August of 2020. The season finale of Saturday Night Live is coming up this weekend. Russian doll star Natasha Lyonne will be hosting for the first time. The actress counts many members of the SNL family as friends, so they have filled her in on some extent about what they can expect as she prepares.
What they don't tell you is really how inspiring it is and that everything moves at a real clip. There's a reason that it's such a New York institution. So as a real New Yorker, I do appreciate that pace of things. It really fills you up and is it keeps you on your A game whether you like it or not. And I like that because usually I'm a napper.
Natasha Lyonne hosts Saturday Night Live this weekend with musical guest Japanese Breakfast. Coming up, we've got your pet of the day from the Lexington Humane Society. We'll meet Lime up next.
Can you hear me?
We are wrapping up LEX18 News at 12:30 with our pet of the day. Caroline Evans with the Lexington Humane Society joins us with this little puppy named Lime. So tell us all about Lime.
Hi, so yes, this is Lime. He is a
11-week-old Shepherd Lab mix, and he's got some beautiful blue eyes that hopefully will be eye-catching. He's good in any home because he is still a puppy. And yeah, he's good in an apartment, around kids, around cats. And he's just looking for a family to give him lots of snuggles.
And Caroline, I'm guessing it was a sibling of his, Peaches, that we saw yesterday?
Yes, it was. Peaches and Lemon are his siblings.
Okay, well, they're cute puppies. So there he is. There's Lime. Yes, look at those blue eyes. You can find him at the Humane Society's main adoption center on Old Frankfort Pike. All right, Tom, a quick look at our forecast for the weekend.
Blue eyes, look at those ears. We've got highs around 90 today. The heat's on. Some showers and storms late in the weekend, Angie, and a big-time cool down by early next week.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining us here at 12:30. We'll see you back here at 4 o'clock. Have a good afternoon.
LEX18, streaming local news 24/7. Search for LEX18 on your device.